Have you ever wondered what your hands, heart, and intuition might reveal about your life? Welcome to Live Soul Readings, Hands, Hearts, and Higher Guidance with Cynthia Clark and Megan Brown. Each week we explore meaningful themes, answer heartfelt questions, and offer live soul readings, intuitive messages, and higher guidance to bring greater clarity to your relationships, purpose, healing, and next steps. Want a chance to be featured live? Submit your hand photos and questions in advance. And join us every Saturday at 10 a.m. Arizona time. Because sometimes the guidance you've been seeking has been waiting for you all along.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's live stream. We're in another beautiful Saturday, and we are going to be talking about discomfort. So, how can we find comfort in discomfort is our topic. So, I want to just start out by mentioning that sometimes discomfort doesn't mean that you're out of alignment, right? Sometimes we think, oh, if I'm uncomfortable, that must mean that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Or, it should be easy and comfortable and fun. Sometimes we think like that. But I find it to be actually the opposite is true. When we really get out of our comfort zone, that's when the real growth happens. So what do you think about that, Megan?
Oh, I absolutely agree. As a matter of fact, the discomfort, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, I've had so much discomfort in my life that I finally got to a place where I can look at it and say, oh, okay, well, why? I just, ask the questions. Who did this? Why did it happen? What am I going to do about it? Okay. And when is this going to be resolved? And we don't necessarily have all of the answers to those questions. And this isn't even about a judgment. This is about getting to a place, I believe, mentally where it's all of a sudden become irrelevant in a way, because it doesn't matter how it got there. What matters is how I shift my mindset around the discomfort. That's what I've kind of gone with lately in the past couple of years. And oh yes, I have those moments just like the rest of us where, oh, this doesn't feel good. This is like, oh, and it's frustrating, but I always try and go back in and say, it's all good. Everything's happening, like you said, for growth. And I think that the growth is in how we handle it within ourselves,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was just thinking about some examples of discomfort that I've gone through in my life. And, one of the ones that came up was back when I was running my restaurant in southern Utah. And we lived in a really tiny, tiny town. It was called Springdale, Utah. It's right outside of Zion National Park. And there's only 425 people that live in that town. I mean, we're talking as tiny as can be, like you blink and you would miss it, right? But except for the fact that it's right outside of a national park. So because of that, and because they actually get millions of visitors per year, I mean, it's kind of it's a big town, but a little town at the same time, if that makes sense. Okay. But there's only one road going in and out, right? So I used to live in the city. I used to live in Salt Lake City, which is a fairly big city. And you have to have a certain mentality to drive, right? You have to be comfortable getting on the freeway, and you have to be comfortable on big streets and lots of traffic and things like that. So anyway, after a few years of working in Springdale, I started to get more and more fearful of driving in the city. And I remember my husband at the time he was like, well, I'm not going to be driving you everywhere.
No.
It was hilarious how he put it. He's like, you better just get comfortable. And so, because I was going back to Salt Lake and I'd be like, I'm uncomfortable being on the freeway. I'm uncomfortable doing this. And he's like, well, you better just get over it. And he was very matter of fact about it. And he was right, of course, because if you put yourself in this little box and you allow yourself to let the fear overtake you, and then you just say, well, I'm just not going to drive anymore. I mean, what kind of solution is that? I guess you could take Uber, but that could be a lot more expensive and less convenient, and it's so disempowering. Right? So I ended up just saying, okay, you're right. I need to get comfortable driving in the city again. And so, because he used to be the driver, right? He used to be the one always driving. And so he started taking, the passenger seat for once. And he let me just start driving more and more in the city. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can get back into this. And I used to do it all the time. So it wasn't a big, it's like, I can do this. We have a memory, and we have a muscle memory too, right? A lot of things that we get comfortable with, we can pick it back up, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. We absolutely can. It's just gaining that confidence too. What you're talking about as well.
Yeah,
doing
exactly. So, I mean, you can apply this to basically anything in your life. If there's something that you're not comfortable with, you have to look at it like, is this something that's going to actually help me grow? Is this something that's good for me? Maybe I should take a look at it. And, it's like building that muscle. It's like practicing. We have to practice. And sometimes we don't want to practice. Right?
Yeah. I get it.
So, Megan, I wanted to bring up, where people don't practice tends to be in the places such as the emotional realm, right? They don't want to feel those uncomfortable feelings. So they completely avoid them and they bury them.
Yeah, as if they're going away, as if those feelings are going away. And if I don't talk to it, if I don't have anything to do with it, it won't bother me. It won't do anything.
Exactly.
It's enough because I felt that, in my past. And then once I had my NDE, it was like, oh no, I really have to talk about things. And there's a place for it. There's a place for talking about emotions. There's a place for feeling the discomfort. And there's a way to do it in such a way where you just honor yourself and allow yourself to express your feelings without an accusatory, this is what I think of it, like without an accusatory behavior in that, this is what you did. And da, da, da. It's like, no. This is how they made you feel. They probably don't have any clue what they did, and I've been faced with that before. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, let me express, what I was feeling around this. So that is definitely a growth process for sure. Trying to articulate the discomfort in conversations. And I know that I used to feel like withdrawing and shutting down because sometimes it was difficult to talk. And I was married, so I'm referring to that. And it was difficult to talk in moments because it was, okay, well, why would you say that? And when I'd come out and express my feelings, it was met with kind of a discomfort sometimes, not all the time, kind of a discomfort sometimes. And it's difficult, but that's where I also learned the emotions of myself are extremely valid. And there are different decisions that have to be made. And there are different ways of going about dealing with the discomfort. And I totally resorted to meditation and writing because I thought, wow, these are really beautiful ways to feel centered, grounded, and share my feelings. Totally unbiased, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I think finding a way to work with those uncomfortable feelings in a safe space, I think is so key. And
Yeah.
at least be honest with yourself, right? So when you get triggered, this is usually like when stuff comes up, right? Like what is triggering you? And then look at it underneath. So you don't necessarily have to backlash to the person or even respond, right? You could just stay silent if that works better. Sometimes it does work better. But at least be honest with yourself and go inward and ask yourself, why am I being triggered by this? And yeah, journal on it or just go into the feeling of that discomfort. And then whatever it is, give the response to yourself that you wish you would have received or that you wish the other person would have acknowledged. I find that to be very helpful. So, because that's going to go into the energy field of you, and it's going to help you actually process whatever it is that you're needing to process.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, we're definitely interested in your discomfort and helping you find comfort in that. So if anyone has any questions about it, feel free to type into the chat and we'll just keep going on our discussion here. So, I also want to talk about, going back to these feelings, asking yourself, what do I want to be true right now? You can ask yourself that. So, for example, going back to my discomfort in driving, right? So my body knows how to drive. I'm actually a very good driver. And I needed to connect back to a younger version of myself that was already confident in that situation. So sometimes it's a memory, right? Like we can lose that comfort over time. Or it could be something that maybe we were never comfortable, right? So another example is when I learned how to ski. And my husband, again, was very adamant of, well, you better just keep up with me or, we're going to have a problem. And he put me in some really difficult situations occasionally that were, I look back on it like, wow, I'm lucky I made it this far, like I was in a couple of no fall zones a few times. And yeah, you trust me, you're going to be careful in those situations, but you have to get through it, right? It's like, okay, I've got a cliff, and I've actually climbed back out off of cliffs before, by the way. So sometimes you have to go down and sometimes you have to go back up. It's like, oh my gosh. But you learn, okay, so in that situation, I'm just going to take you guys through one of these. Imagine you're in Utah, okay, and you're on a cliff. There's nobody around you, and you can either jump that cliff, which is maybe, it wasn't that big. It was maybe 10 or 15 feet, but that's still kind of a long ways. And you could hurt yourself. You could significantly hurt yourself if you're not careful. Now you could ruin your skis, right? That's another thing. You could try to get down off the cliff and just sort of side slip it. And you could pretty much ruin your skis that way, and still fall and probably hurt yourself. Or you can climb back up off of the cliff and try to find another way around because the cliff isn't going to be all the way across the mountain. So in some of those situations, I would just take a deep breath. I would stop at the top of the cliff. I'd be like, okay, I'm safe right here. I'm at the top of the cliff. And what are my choices, right? So definitely slowing your breathing down, super key, and really going back to your skills, because you have more skills than you realize. And you can figure stuff out, you know? And so, yeah, I ended up in this situation, I ended up climbing back up because I wasn't ready to take a 15, 20-foot drop. And it's like, I'll find a way around. And I did. So,
Wow. Wow. That would freak me out because I mean, the last time I skied so many years ago, it always freaked me out. So I was never passionate about skiing. I tried, but I can just visualize what you're talking about. And I'd be like, I'm out. I'm waiting for the helicopter. Over here.
Yeah. Well, and it's so funny too, because I used to always have people who would want to follow me because I always knew where the good powder was. And I don't know, I guess I just gave off that vibe like, oh, she knows where she's going. I want to follow her. So I remember I was in Snowmass one time, and I met this guy on the chairlift, and he was from Pennsylvania. So you can imagine the mountains in Pennsylvania are not like the mountains in Colorado. And he's like, oh, well, are you by yourself? I was actually skiing by myself that day. And he's like, well, where are you going? And I'm like, well, I don't know. We're going up the chair, and I'm like, oh, this line looks pretty good. I'm kind of pointing out the line as we're going up. And he's like, well, can I follow you? And I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, but how good of a skier are you? So I have no idea. But anyway, so he ended up following me. And it was really funny because he got stuck on some rocks, and I turned around and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to rescue this poor guy who really shouldn't have been following me down here. And I could tell he was terrified.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I don't want to be responsible for this.
Had to be his lifeguard.
I know. I felt like, gosh, I dragged this poor guy into this situation. So I ended up like climbing back up, and I'm like, okay, well, let's see if we can figure out an easier way for you to go. Anyway, that was the only run we ended up doing together. He did make it down, but it was funny. So that was, again, it's like, well, but he took a risk, right? So let's look at the bottom line of this. Like, that guy took a risk because he saw a guide, me, who he thought, oh, well, if she can go down it, I can go down it, right? Mm-hmm. So that actually leads us to a very important lesson, right? In that, look at the people who are already doing what you want to do. And that's a great way to learn, right? So whatever you want to achieve in your life, well, look at those people and what do they have to do that, right? For me, it was years and years of skiing. I mean, I certainly didn't learn how to go down double blacks, overnight, but I had to become comfortable doing things that were pretty precarious in some kind of difficult conditions and just getting through it.
Wow. I couldn't do that. And my dad was a big skier, and I remember him talking to me once saying, oh yeah, I'd go down the Black Mountain, whatever you're talking about. And it was so difficult. And he's telling me, I said, Dad, why? He goes, oh, I loved it. I'd go wherever they'd say, no, you can't go over here. I'd go, and I would just see my brains out. I loved it. And I thought, oh, great, but I can't imagine doing that. But you bring up a good point that people do look to another for that confidence as well. Like, oh, well, if they can do it, so can I. It's a boost, of encouragement. And I love that, Sometimes it's just jump in. It's that saying, you can't just experience it if you put your foot in the water. You've got to really jump in and experience it, the entire thing. So
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You can't just read a book about skiing and then know how
yeah,
to ski, right?
right.
And I still remember the day that I did my first Black Diamond run. And I remember getting to the bottom and I felt so accomplished. It's like, wow, I feel like I can do anything. It really gave me such a confidence boost
Mhm.
that, I mean, it was so exhilarating. So maybe ask yourself, what little thing can I do today that could be a win for me, right? Like we want to get those wins under our belt, because if we're constantly pushing ourselves and we're not getting anywhere, that can be very disheartening. And then we can get discouraged. It's like going from the green run to the black run. I mean, you don't want to do that, because you're probably going to get hurt. But what can you do today that pushes you a little bit out of that comfort zone so that you can win at it, whatever it is, and it's going to build your confidence so that you can do more the next time.
I love that. Now, you keep making me think of the experience of divorce. And for anybody who's been through a divorce, you know that when sometimes you don't stay friends with the same friends, right?
For sure.
And those people take sides for whatever the reason. And that is an uncomfortable position to be in. And I remember, and I'm only sharing this because I know that this happens to others as well, where it's, oh, I can't go there because they're going to be there. And it's going to be like this. And I will say now, because I have felt that, now I took on the approach that, well, you don't know the entire story. You can think whatever you want. Anybody can think whatever they want. But until you know the entire story and what's behind everything, then, why would you make an opinion one way or another? Which is what I experienced. But then it was also me recognizing that, and again, I'm saying this for everybody who's looking at this, where we are faced with moments of being uncomfortable in a situation where you run into somebody, like I'll tell you this one. So I went out on a date at the beginning of this year, toward the beginning of this year.
Mm-hmm.
The date was late. I met him at a restaurant, and who walks in but somebody else I went out on a date with, who comes over. I invited, please come sit down. Then the date walks in. And so it was the three of us just smiling, talking. Neither of them knew, right? So the one that I knew that I'd already gone on a date with is asking this new date, well, how do you know? And oh, well, but it was just so, and I thought, well, just let this play out. I'm not uncomfortable in this. And so when I shared that with my brother, one of my brothers, he said, Megan, that is so awkward. And I said, no, actually, it really wasn't. It was a moment of just being an observer of it's like a situation that happened, and you can't get rid of it except just say, oh, okay, well, like they told me in heaven in my NDE, there's no way out but through. So just breathe, and it was uncomfortable, but not at the same time. It was unexpected. I should say it was just more unexpected, because I'd never experienced that in my entire life. And there it was. So
yeah, amazing. Well, it sounds like you handled it okay.
I think I did. And I share that so that other people can handle, awkward situations with others. It doesn't mean you have to be on a date. It could mean that you run into your ex-husband or ex-wife, and there you are and with your friends, and it's like all of a sudden triggers, like you were mentioning earlier. Oh, and it sets your mood and puts you in a different mind space for a moment, and just breathe through it. Oh, I've experienced it. And you just breathe through it and do the best you can, and then give yourself credit for getting through it. Totally. Give yourself credit, because we don't look, I don't think enough people give themselves enough credit, for how
I
they
agree.
situations. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are very hard on themselves, is what I've noticed. And I should have done this, or it could have been better if or I'm this age and I shouldn't be at this emotional juncture in my life. Well, it takes what it takes. Don't judge yourself for what you are just now knowing.
Mhm.
Cut yourself slack.
Exactly. Yeah. People are so hard on themselves. I'm sure that poor guy from, Pennsylvania was really hard on himself, and he probably felt really stupid. It's like, I'm following this girl and I can't even keep up. That actually happened a lot with me, by the way. But it's like, come on, get over it. Like, the ego, like, how many times a year do you ski? If you're from Pennsylvania, probably just 3 or 4 times, right? And I was skiing, 60, 70 days a year. I mean, it was a lot for me. So it was just another day. But anyway, yeah, I think their natural tendency is to be hard on themselves when they fail, or, even feeling the discomfort, right? I mean, that's how I was when I was doing the driving in Salt Lake. I'm like, why am I feeling so uncomfortable? I should be able to do this. I used to do this. And it was like, well, yeah, but you're out of practice. So you need to cut yourself some slack, get back into practice, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah. So the discomfort can become your friend as well. So you can look at your life and you can look at, what would I like to experience next? And if it's uncomfortable, it probably is a good direction for you to go in. Right? So I still remember, like you had mentioned, getting divorced, right? Mm-hmm. This is one I think a lot of people can relate to. It's like, the relationship is ending, it's not working out anymore. Maybe you've been trying for years to get it to work and it still isn't working. How much discomfort in that are you going to allow? How many years are you going to just put yourself behind what you need to do to grow? And how much are you going to put up with? And how much are you going to tolerate? Especially, I wouldn't classify myself as this person, but how much abuse are you going to put up with, right? Because some people put up with a lot of abuse and they just put themselves last every single time. And that kind of discomfort is not going to serve you, right? When are you going to say yes to yourself?
Yeah, that's the important part right there. Because as I'm listening to you, it's totally yes. But at what point do you say, how far am I willing to lose myself and who I am for this other person to make it right, to try and fix this, to make it work? Because you've invested so many years. In my situation, it was so many years of being married, and why would I walk away? I really want to do this. I really want to do this. But then it was just, there comes a time when you have to take that breath and make a decision. And when that decision comes, everybody's is different, I know. But when that decision comes, you make it, and it is uncomfortable. Now, I know people who are like friends with their exes. They were married and now they're remarried, and, everything's great. And I'm thinking, I wish I wish that could be the case, but not everybody is. But having said that, it's not well, we're done, we're completed in our cycle together in life. I'm not going to follow it up and say, why can't you get over it? Because we're each at our own process.
Absolutely.
How we're responding to the event. And it takes as long as it takes to move through it.
That's definitely true. And depending on your heart line, going to the hands, everybody processes emotions differently. And that's going to show up in the length of your heart line, the curvature of your heart line. Everybody's different. And it's okay, right? You don't have to be like your spouse. You just have to be you. You have to understand who you are. And so you can heal and move forward and grow, because ultimately that's what we're here for in this life. Is you're in school, whether you're in school or not. This is Earth school. And if you're still on the planet, it means that you still have stuff to do and you're not finished. So rather than just ignore whatever it is, my attitude is always to take a look at it and ask yourself, well, what is my next step? What can I do to make my life better? How can I be comfortable in this uncomfortable situation? And what is the lesson behind it? What is being reflected back to me? And as soon as you learn those things, you're going to be leagues ahead of most people.
Yeah, I remember feeling finally I got to the place where I could understand we outgrew one another. And the needs, my personal needs, I can't speak for him, but my personal needs changed. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's, oh, okay, this is where I'm at now. And I have to honor where I'm at right now, or I'm going to stay stunted from who I can actually be, the fullness of myself. And I think it's a beautiful growing opportunity. Now, it's so much easier to say this after it's done. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I wasn't feeling that when I was going through it. However, looking back, I say, okay, Megan, you learned a few things here along the way. And what are the positives? Because it's not all negative. And as a matter of fact, there's no negative in anything, believe it or not. It's actually all positive. That's what I feel now.
Yeah, that's a good one to remind people of, because even a seemingly negative event like a divorce, I mean, that seems incredibly negative, is going to open up the door for your next chapter. And you're going to grow in ways that you can't even imagine or see in that moment. And there's love in it. There's always love in it, because the universe is benevolent. The universe loves you so much. And you have angels and guides and a support team, a galactic team. I mean, there's so much support around you all the time. And a lot of times we don't even acknowledge it or even recognize it. And sometimes it can be disheartening when we forget, right? So if we turn that lesson upside down and we look at it like, what is the opportunity in this? That you'll find a way through. So,
with a different set of eyes, I might add. I know this is what happened for me, as I began to look at myself differently, listen to conversations just in general with people. I even looked at people differently, not in a negative way, but in other words, okay, what is it that I'm really hearing? What is it that I'm really seeing? When you get to that part of yourself where you feel like, okay, this isn't this isn't going to work here. What is it? Why? I mean, you've got to ask yourself. You've got to look at yourself and really dissect yourself in a positive way, where you say, "Oh yeah, this is where I'm at. This is what I need to feel fulfilled on an emotional level."
Yeah, good point. So let's talk a little bit about your upcoming class, Megan. I'm going to put it up here on the screen. It's called Who Did You Have to Become? I want to hear more about that.
Well, everybody is trained, I will say, in their lives. We are raised a certain way, and therefore we are trained a certain way. And we are told this is the path, this is the journey, because this is what's been, given to us. And we do that. We faithfully live our lives. But then there comes a point in life where we say, there's got to be something more. But this doesn't make any sense. And why am I don't really feel this way? Why am I not talking about this? Or why am I withholding? Because you don't understand who you are. And it's so important that we learn to love ourselves at a different level. So that's what this class is about. It's a I'll say spiritual, because it came from a near-death experience. It's not religious by any means, but it is about self-love and self-journey that you can assist yourself with, and every situation, as a matter of fact, knowing about what love really is.
That sounds like a great class. And when is it coming up?
Oh, so it begins Tuesday, September 1st at 5 p.m. Arizona time.
Okay. Well, terrific. So anybody who's interested, you can just go to conversationswithmegan.com and check out her event. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about the class I've got going on. Mine is called the Diamond Heart. And so talking about this emotional stuff, to me, I see the compass direction. We have four directions in the compass. So the south direction for me is the heart, and it represents our emotional energy. So we have these 10 heart chambers in our hands. So our heart line is going to reflect how the emotions come through. And then the heart chambers show actually what is blocked or trapped within you. And so this, the diamond heart is a way for you to navigate the 10 heart chambers and actually heal whatever is blocked within those chambers, so that you can move forward in your life and really feel confident and safe and loved as you navigate your next chapter. So that's what the Diamond Heart is, and it's a 3-month course. So because emotions are complex and it takes a while to process all that. But anybody who's interested can just go to ascension17.com, and then the course page is where I've got that located. So we're open to taking any of your questions. If anyone wants to type a question into the chat, we are here to assist you. And while we're waiting for questions to come in, I just want to make a comment too. Sometimes things happen to your hands, by the way. So I had a discomfort this morning. I banged my finger, my Jupiter finger, pretty hard. And Jupiter, by the way, this is the index finger, represents your power. It represents leadership. It represents ambition and how you see yourself. So it's kind of funny. It's all the stuff we've been talking about. And when you have something like that happen in your hand, it's asking you to pay attention to that part of you, because your hand is really your mirror. to everything about who you are. So, for example, if you cut your hand, or, you need to look at the location of where that cut is, because it's literally showing you exactly what you need to address within yourself.
Wild. I never even thought about that before. I mean, that is, wow.
I know. It's so funny. Most people don't think of this. It's like the physical representation of what's going on behind the scenes, and it's going to show up. So,
wow.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry
so funny.
you had to go through that. That's horrible.
Well, I know, but it's all good because it's making me more aware of, oh, I need to be looking at this today. This is important. And that's why I banged my hand. So, for example, I did a reading a while back who, unfortunately, the lady had cancer and they had to cut off one of her fingers.
Oh, no.
And so she actually lost her little finger. And the little finger is your communication finger. And it was on her passive hand. So it was her intimacy finger. And she was having trouble with her spouse.
Oh, wait. So wait, intimacy finger and communication?
Yes.
Cynthia.
So I know. So anyway, of course she was coming to see me because she was having this problem in her marriage. And then I'm looking at her hand like, what happened to your little finger? And then she told me she had to get it cut off because of cancer. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, well, this makes perfect sense as to why you're having this problem. It's literally being reflected through the hand.
Mm.
So yeah, so don't ever underestimate those little cuts or, bumps that appear. They are definitely killing you.
I have a question for you, because in my car accident when I was a kid, my first NDE, this little finger I almost lost on my main,
your active hand.
And my passive is where I'm having issue now on the same finger. And so I'm like, okay, this one just came out of nowhere and resolved, but it was that. So I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, what is it about communication? I don't even know how to say this. I don't even know what to say other than it's surprising that there's a context here of understanding yourself and perhaps what your mission is, if you're getting the same message or just a message on one of the fingers. I happen to get it on both the same fingers on both hands. So it's interesting. I'm now listening to you, hearing that, everything is about communication and relationships. But I'm not a palm reader, and I'm not a hand analyst like you are. I don't go any further than that. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it is. Especially little finger issues, there's something that you're not listening to, or you're not hearing, or you're not communicating. That's what I would be looking at with that finger. So those would be the kinds of questions we would explore together. If you were my client, I would look at that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But yeah, the hands will tell you exactly.
That's remarkable.
So I was thinking we could always pull a palmistry tarot card for the group as well, if there's no specific questions coming in, and we could tie it right into, and maybe you could tune into your guides, Megan, and we could just do like a group reading, which can always be good. And so the question that I'd like to just pose for everybody to think about is, what do I need to know about my own discomfort to help me move forward? Okay, so that's, I think, a good question for the collective.
That's a great question.
And I'm going to pull a card from my very own deck I created, which is called the Palmistry Tarot Deck. And this is definitely a labor of love that I created because I wanted to actually make my favorite deck be my own deck. So that's how it came out. It teaches you palmistry, it teaches you about crystals, and it teaches you tarot all at the same time. Okay, so this is the answer to that question. We're getting the inverted 6 of Earth. Okay, this is the zone of business. Okay, which is interesting because we're back to that little finger, which we were just talking about. And it's the middle section of the little finger. Okay, so this is really asking you to look at contracts. Okay, because the zone of business is all about contracts and negotiations. So what contracts have you made, either knowingly or unknowingly, that you are ready to shift? And because it's inverted, it's basically saying it's time for you to cut those contracts that are no longer working for you. And so, for example, if you are not in a place where you want to be, you know, like last week, for example, we talked about money because it was the Lion's Gate. So it's like, well, what contract needs to be severed with money? What have you agreed to? For example, a lot of people have vows of poverty from past lives. You know, there was, I think a ton of people actually suffer from this one. You know, it's like, well, I'm gonna suffer through my life, and I'm gonna make it really difficult, and I'm barely gonna skate by, and you know, that's the way to do it, because if I have money, you know, maybe I'm gonna get killed, right? A lot of people got killed for having money. Or maybe you're afraid to hold money because of the responsibility that comes along with it. You know, so look at those patterns and ask yourself, what is ready to be released? And this definitely can help you. And you don't have to hold a contract forever, by the way. You can release your vow of poverty right now. You can just say, you know, universe, I declare and claim my any vow of poverty to now be severed, you know, in all timelines and all dimensions. And you can use your free will to actually cut that. Okay, so we have more power than we realize.
I love that. That's really beautiful. As you were doing that card, sharing the messages from the card, I was hearing to step into yourself, your highest self, your power of yourself, and not to silence yourself. So it's interesting because we as a world are being faced with, in variations, situations where we have to hold our thoughts back, or you know, not share completely what we're feeling. And so the message that I'm getting for everybody is to definitely share what you're feeling, and always know that it's not about an argument. It's not about being right. It's about just allowing yourself to be heard. And it's not to ignite or infuse someone in one direction or another. Communication is about thinking and pausing and reflecting on yourself as to what's happening with the other person as well. It's multi-layered is the feeling that I'm getting here, but the message is to step into yourself, hold your own power, and know that your voice matters. So don't withdraw.
That's great advice. Definitely one that I could follow.
Well, yeah. You know, I just think of the little finger, you know, it goes along with that, and everybody has one.
Yep. Unless, of course, it got cut off. Yeah. But most of us have all of our fingers. So, all right. So, yeah. So it looks like we don't have any other questions coming in. So I guess we will wrap up for this week. We definitely value everybody who is here. Thank you so much for coming. And we are, we love sharing with you our wisdom from our own experiences to help you in your next steps in your life. So we hope to see you again next week, and have a wonderful week, everyone.
Bye.